Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuh. I'm well pleased to have you today in the fourth episode. The fourth episode, as far as I remember. Yes. The fourth episode of the series of dialogue with the Shia. The topic today is about, I think the last time we've been talking about book and atra, or book and sunnah. Book and sunnah. Well, I want to say something here. Let me say this. I want to say that we are delighted to announce the launch of Wisal TV in English for academic dialogues about the Shia. Therefore, if you have any doubts, which are spread by the Shia, please do not hesitate. Do not hesitate to call us in order to clear out the things for you. Clear out the doubts that they give. There is a dedicated Skype account, which I'm going to open right now. A dedicated Skype account, which is wisal.english. W-E-S-A-L. I'm opening it now. W-E-S-A-L. W-E-S-A-L dot English. E-N-G-L-I-S-H. And now I'm opening it now. I'm ready to welcome any question, any doubt that the Shia usually spread. That's number one. The other thing is, we currently are broadcasting, as I think you know, we are broadcasting on Arab Sat 11595 vertical, and soon inshallah we will be broadcasting on Hotbird. Hotbird is very important, but nowadays it seems that we do not have the means. We do not have the means to have something, to have this broadcast. We're trying, inshallah, our best to broadcast on Hotbird, which is, I believe it's very important. Maybe within a month, inshallah, we'll be broadcasting. We encourage you to give all the support you can give, as this is, as you know, the only TV that refutes the doubts, clarify the pure doctrine of Islam, which is based on the book, which had been accused of being changed by the Shia. That's their perspective. And the pure Sunnah, the authentic Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ. All of those two sources are based on the understanding of the Salaf of this Ummah, and I mean by that the companions of Rasulullah ﷺ. The objective and the goal of this TV is focusing on defending Prophet's companions and Prophet's wives, which had been attacked as well by the Shia. Unfortunately, I have to clarify these things to show what is our objective. Our objective is not to attack, is not to speak violently, is not to speak negatively, but we're looking for a constructive dialogue based on or backed by evidences and documentations. We do not allow, and I'm saying it from here, we do not allow ourselves to speak about any people, any people's belief, anything that they say that, anything they say, it has to be proven. Our methodology is academic. more than anything else. It is very, very, very important. Now, I have another topic to talk about. It is not about Shia necessarily, but it is about something that breaks my heart. It's a tragedy. And I think you know what is the topic. It is about Syria. It is not only about those people whom you do not imagine the way they live. Poverty. Mothers that cry aloud, crying. We have no milk. We haven't seen milk since weeks. We have no bread. A whole family may share the one piece of bread in the whole day. I'm not gonna spend the whole time talking about these details. Plus, we shouldn't talk about it. It's very clear. Plus, the fear, the horror, their suffering, the loss of children. In many cases, the whole family get killed. The whole family. Many times, the whole buildings collapse. Those who used to be living in it, up, now they are buried by the same building. My point is, what is the matter of the world today, which is divided on itself about whether to strike a criminal regime or not? Now, anyone speaks good for Hitler will be instantly considered as a criminal. For sure. No doubt, he was criminal. But what about what's happening nowadays? It seems to me that that regime is so confident that no matter what he does, he is covered, he's backed up, he is feeling security, safe from being punished globally. No matter what he does, no one is going to punish him. I mean, this regime has already this kind of certitude. It is so clear and so obvious. In Libya, in a couple of months, all the embassies had been changed. They went for the favor of the opponents of Gaddafi in months. Nowadays, 99% of the embassies are still under control of this regime. And we wonder why. Today, we know that there are something like 1,400 chemical victims, chemical weapons victims. And most of them are children and women who've been hiding in a certain place, and they were shelled chemically by this regime. But you know what? Those 1,500, they haven't been treated in any merciful way until now. They're waiting for the mercy of the global conscious, not only to mourn them, but to retaliate against this unmerciful regime. A regime that has no morality, no faith, no morality at all, no faith, no principles. So brutal against its own people. Yet, he knows that what he's doing, he had done it with the background that he has. He's well aware that, in a matter of fact, no punishment, there is no international will to punish this regime. It's amazing. All of that had increased my trust that there is a great clinging to this regime for a reason or another. For a reason or another. I would say the reason is this regime is a great defender or a guard for Israel. It's so obvious. It is so clear. A regime that sold Julan to Israel. And as a reward for that regime, the seller of Julan became the president, who killed in one incident, in one attack, 50,000 people in Hama. Now, his son decided to double the number, and he became a worse criminal than his father. But in matter of fact, this regime had not only killed 1,500 people, which caused, a big activity, meetings, United Nations Assembly, etc., etc. All of those had gathered, and guess what? They're failing. They are failing. Votes in America, in France, in Germany had overweighted those votes for the favor of the regime that shouldn't be attacked, overweighted the others who voted against this regime. But wait a minute. Should there be any consideration for any voice that gives itself for the favor of that regime? Is there any consideration? This kind of voice should be muted. It should be muted. It shouldn't be given any consideration. Why people are backing off? Firstly, we were optimistic that this regime may be punished in a way or another. But it took so long, to the extent that they made all their preparations, and people talking today about prisoners being replaced and put in these expected locations to be targeted by Tomahawk or whatever. So that caused me to be pessimistic, not optimistic. That the regime will not be having any kind of pain. No, the pain will be again on those innocent people, wronged, oppressed people. What really caused me a great deal of pain, that today I heard, or yesterday, and not even today, on CNN, France 24, that there's a great fear that those chemical weapons may be handled to the hands of those who are worse than Bashar al-Assad and his regime. I've been wondering, are there people worse than this man and his regime? I mean, by what definition you have came to that conclusion? Who is ever worse than this regime? A killer, a mass killer. And that caused me really to think about it. Who's leading the world? Who is leading the world today? That caused a great leader, a greatest leader, to retreat from his decision. We can see many countries, they're retreating. It really caused me to say to the people in Syria, You have to double your trust on your Lord, for there is no voice, there is no one to cry, to shed tears for you. There is no one to shed tears for you. Depend on your Lord. Return to Him, repent to Him, and depend on Him. Because I swear by Allah, the international will is for the favor of the regime. And they were expecting him to get rid of those opponents. But they were forsaken. They were disappointed, I mean. They were disappointed. Bashar was unable to get rid of the problem. They wanted the problem to finish. They don't want something called Arabian Spring in Syria. In Egypt, yeah. Libya, yeah. Tunisia, no problem. But not in Syria. Not in a neighboring country to Israel. No. And a very strategic country that has many neighbors. Iraq, Lebanon, Israel, Turkey, etc., etc. It's a very strategic spot in the world. I have an appeal. Better than the Tomahawk, better than cruise, better than anything else. We need a banning for the airstrike inside Syria. Because this what had really devastated Syria more than anything else. If the chemical weapons caused the death of 1,500 innocents, I'm expecting that the toll of death had reached to become something like 200,000 or even more. 7 million homeless people that immigrated from Syria into the neighboring countries. Where's the mercy? Where is the international law? I mean, now we are cornered to take one of the two decisions. Either we believe in the credibility of the international law, or welcome to the law of jungle. All the reactions, all the attitudes that we can see regarding the situation in Syria, we don't see any kind of law. We don't see any kind of principles. What we see is favors. Favors mute the principles. When the favor intervene, when the principle is intercepted by favors, then they should ignore the principles. That's what I can see. So, guarantee for us the banning of the Bashar's airstrikes. And we can guarantee for you getting rid of this regime if you want to get rid of it. But I doubt. I doubt it. This international oppression caused me to be, as I said, more dependent on my Lord. Because there's no one to run to. The last hope we had, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala executes something or distance something through the strike that we expected from the United States. But this day is a great disgrace. It seems that the whole world is not agreeing on that. There's disagreement. And it is really embarrassing that we find this kind of disagreement, despite all what we saw. More than half of the whole country is devastated. More than 500,000 are in jails. More than 200,000 people got killed. Don't forget about the rapes. I was so happy to see one last year in London, a woman took a cat. She doesn't like that cat. And put it in the trash. And she was caught by a surveillance camera. There was a great issue about it. All the British channels had broadcasted this clip. That was good. But what a lucky cat. That cat was lucky, much more than those infants, that no one is crying for them. No one is making any brave decision as to defending them and retaliate against this regime. Why should I be more depending on Allah? Because when Allah promises, His promise never fails. On the contrast, we can see many people make promises and they fail in their promises. The Muslims expect nothing but a help from their Lord. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala said, if you support Allah, that means support His deen, His religion, Allah will support you. But if Allah ignore you and forsake you, who's He that will grant you victory after Him? The answer is no one except Allah. There's a great fear nowadays. They say that we fear that there is a great deal of chemical weapons in Syria. And it may be, in a way or another, be launched against Israel. You know what? I can speak to the FSA, Free Syrian Army, appealing on them to give it to you. Take it. We don't want it. It is not of the Muslim's characteristic. It is not of the Muslim methodology, faith, to use these chemical weapons even against Israel. No matter, no matter how hatred we have to those people who occupied a Muslim country. There is a great deal of hatred. I mean, our brothers in Palestine, as well, they are oppressed there. But no matter what resentment we may be having against those people, our faith, our religion would never permit us to kill people by chemical weapons, just like the way this regime had done to the children of women there. But didn't the West had disappointed the Syrians before the chemical weapons issues? Didn't they? The answer is yes. It seems to me that there's sort of justification to say that, well, there are, chemical weapons, and we can't support those whom we expect them to be worse than Bashar al-Assad. It is only a matter of justification. I would like to remind America and its allies, what was the reaction against Halabja atrocity and massacre? It was so fast. They have acted, instantly, immediately. So why not the same thing with also in Iraq? Don't forget about what happened in Iraq. Why not the same thing with this regime? I wonder. This is not the same way that I've been dealt with the matter of Afghanistan and Iraq and Mali. No, it's not the same thing. Isn't this a double standard? Not going to say yes, but I'll leave it to your conscience. Until now, there are many people who do not know what was the real reason for having a NATO existence in Afghanistan, in many other countries. Even the soldiers themselves don't know the reason. Some people may ask this question, what do you expect? I mean, are you expecting the United States to be an international police? Every country has internal problems. You want to intervene America. You want to call America. So why do you have to expect or seek help from America? Well, the answer is they have offered an international system, a security kind of network. And they said, we're following up the cases in the whole world. And those who use chemical weapons, which is our red line, they have to be punished. All right, go ahead. You suggested it, then you have to accomplish it. Then you have to fulfill it. Otherwise, this will be shaking people's faith in your credibility. People will be pointing their fingers against you, saying that you are hypocrites, you are double standard. You believe in principles, but God is testing you with things that attract you and cause you and put you in a choice, in an option, whether you go ahead with your principles or you ignore them. This is a test. Every person in this world is tested, be it individuals or groups, globes, countries. What I'd like to say is that the whole world today is responsible, is sharing this crime with its leniency and negligence regarding the occurrences in Syria. Will there be any strike? I had hopes before, a week ago, but now I'm not really counting on that. No. These international Western attitudes and positions do not really help me to have a good thoughts about what they decide. And as I said, I'm not really optimistic. Because what is happening now, that all of those criminals, they have changed their locations. And this is, saying that we are going to do something, it had given them a warning. And now they're taking their precautions. They have changed their locations, their positions. It is just like saying to a thief, we know where you are, we know that you did such and such, and we are on our way to you next week. Tell me, come on, tell me. Do you expect that thief to remain where he was? This is a tragedy. This is a tragedy. There should be a strike against this regime, at least to give it a lesson, which is going to be a lesson for other people. Or lest he execute other crimes and atrocities in many other places. And people are talking about that. Even the British Prime Minister had talked about that. There should be a punishment. Otherwise, what if he repeated his crime on the next week or next day? No one is going to be stopping it. What is the matter? Why this regime cannot be stopped? And a word that I should be also given to the Iranians. And what should I say about the Iranians and their disappointing position that is taken for the favor of this regime? A regime that killed by chemical weapons 1,500 children and women. Shouldn't he be criticized by a Muslim country that says La ilaha illallah? What we see is the opposite. This so-called La ilaha illallah country is warning the non-Muslims who are making preparations to retaliate against the Syrian regime. This so-called La ilaha illallah country is threatening the whole West of a third world war if they dare to do anything against the Syrian regime. MashaAllah, what a Muslim country is this? What a Muslim country is this? A Muslim usually, a real Muslim, should be a merciful person. Even in one of the wars, the Prophet ﷺ had passed by a dead woman. He looked at her and said, "What is the matter with this woman? Why she got killed?" Then the Prophet ﷺ, he issued his order that no woman should ever be killed, ever, unless accidentally or she may be participating. She was, participating in the war and suddenly she got killed. But other than that, this is not allowed. Islam is a religion of mercy. Why? Because it was revealed by the one who created the mercy in his creatures. Islam is a religion of mercy. But we don't see any kind of mercy. We can see a criminal Iranian attitude threatening to retaliate against those who want to retaliate for the children that have been killed by the chemical weapons. Strange. It's really strange. Finally, I ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to pass this tragedy and tribulation from this country, beautiful country, a beautiful country. I swear by Allah that I had wishes many decades before to live in this country. You can't imagine the hospitality and the kindness of its people, especially those who live in villages. Very kind people, charming people. You can never imagine to find a kinder people like those people. What is their guilt? Their guilt is that they're neighboring Israel. Everything, no matter what, Israel should live in security. This is the key point. This is the center of the issue. And it's in the Bible that Allah said, "Since I loved you, my chosen people, I will let people die in exchange for your security, for your salvation." And that's what's happening. People are dying. For what? For the so-called chosen people of God. Just to live in security and peace. They have been set and rooted in the midst of the Middle East. But we have another enemy now. It's not only Israel, which is not less in danger than Israel, but even worse. It's more dangerous than Israel. And that is the Iranian regime, which made a lot of lies, denying that they were participating in the war in Syria. But it could not stand these kinds of lies. It was exposed. What you see today, and I think all the Westerners can see videos about the bravery and the kindness of those people who are fighting, resisting, struggling against this criminal, brutal regime. They can see their bravery and their kindness. And they always say, "Oh Allah, we have none to help us other than you. You are the only helper. I mean, compare what they say to what the Shia say. Ya Hussein, Ya Ali, Ya Zahra. They always call dead people for their needs. They always call them apart from Allah the Almighty. We have a greater criminal. I mean, imagine now. This is what I'm always wondering about. What I'm wondering is this. Oh, I forgot this. Okay. Iran had attacked Iraq, attacked Syria, and no one is saying anything against it. When America entered Iraq, there used to be Mujahidi Khalq, I think, on the neighboring borders between Iraq and Iran. They got rid of them. And by the way, today, there's a great complaint about also a similar massacre that took place in a camp called Ashraf Camp, I think. They are brutally killed, and no one's saying anything. Assassinations. Look in Lebanon. Hezbollah is participating in the war in Syria, saying that this is jihad. Supporting this criminal regime, this very regime, whenever they capture soldiers from the FSA, they say to them, say La ilaha illa Bashar al-Assad. And yet Hezbollah says we're making jihad to support those people. Supporting what? Supporting who? Those who force people to say La ilaha illa Bashar. Are you Hezbollah or Hizb al-Shaytan? This is not the Hezbollah that we know. Hezbollah does not support those who say to the people, say La ilaha illallah or we kill you. Many people got killed because they refused to say this word. They want Bashar to be the god of people. They have this big ad that they write all over Syria. Al-Assad, or we burn the balad, the city, the country. Either you accept Assad, or we're gonna burn the city, the whole country. It's in Arabic, just like, it's a rhyme. Al-Assad, أو نحرق البلد. Guess what? This regime had sent many tails, puppets, Lebanese puppets to Lebanon, such as Michel Smaha. And today, there was a big scandal that they're also behind the bombing attack in Tripoli against 2 mosques. Something like 100 people got killed and 500 are wounded. It was exposed. It's a scandal. Yet no one says, what are you doing? No one can bring these people to judgment. There is no one to say to Hezbollah or Iran, what are you doing? Come on. Please don't try to convince us that you are against Hezbollah anymore. People are recognizing these double standards and international hypocrisy. If you don't care about ruining your credibility, that's for your shame. That's for your shame. But be sure that the international law had been disbelieved in. No more belief. No one had made these proclamations. I wanted to share with you the agonies of the people in Syria. We want anything to stop this war, anything to stop it. If you have any kind of fear that some, some people who are worse than Assad may be offensive against Israel, etc. I don't think so. You did not know the Syrian people. And you should, I mean, it is true. Let me be open. Why do you have to care for people who occupied a country, a Muslim country, a Palestinian country? From time to time, they fire people from their own farms and lands, and they substitute. They give it to Israelite people, and they build a whole compounds, a big compounds. Imagine yourself being one of those people that suddenly the soldiers come to you and say, leave the house. You have 24 hours to leave your house, to leave your land, or you get killed. Imagine if this happens to you. What would be your reaction? Are you happy in living for yourselves? Are you happy to be selfish and live for your weekend, just to have to collect some money, have fun, entertainment? You don't live for the others. You don't sacrifice yourself to the others. Enjoy, but little. This life is nothing. This life is a life of loss. That's why the Muslim expect losses. And that increases his hope in the other life, the upper life that has no loss. I love what the Prophet heard from the angel Gabriel. And I think I may end with it. Jibreel came to the Prophet ﷺ and said to him, today it was supposed to be talking about the Shia. I don't know. If I have much more time, I'll do that. But let me bring out from things from my heart. Agonies. I live on that sadness by day and night. Sometimes I ask my family to forgive me. I act nervously. But I have something. I have a choke in my throat. I have a great deal of grieveness and sadness for what's happening in Syria. Alhamdulillah, God is for them. When we know that this life is a life of loss, that increases our faith in the other life that has no loss. A complete life wherein there is no sadness, no grieveness, no bad words or talking, no evil people, no fights, no disease, no death, no narrowness in provision, no job, no Shia. Thank God. Whew, that's the best. Nothing to grieve you or to sadden you. What you desire is little, is limited. But what Allah has for you is ever greater, which you do not imagine to ask for, but it will be given to you. This life is a life of test and loss. And everything troubles you. If you eat, you have troubles. You have to get tired in order to get rid of what you've been eating. I was saying these words to my children. They were laughing a lot. I said, there's an example of this life. Things that when you start to take, you say, yummy, yummy. But it ends with yaki, yaki. I think people understand what I'm talking about. This is life. This is a small symbol of life. Yeah, coming back to the hadith where Jibreel said to the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, O Muhammad, live as much as you desire to live, for soon you're going to die. And love whom you so ever desire to love, for soon you're going to separate with. And do whatever you desire to do, for soon you're going to be brought to account and to be judged about it. And know well that the honor of the believer is in his standing in prayer at night. The honor of the believer is by standing in prayer at night to Allah. And his dignity is to abstain himself from the need of people. It's a beautiful hadith. I repeat to say, this life is nothing. And what we expect, hopefully, that those who got killed by this regime, they are enjoying something that we do not expect nowadays. There's something that people realize by these videos, abundant videos, various videos about the fight in Syria. People are seeking to die. It's not only a matter that they have no problem with it. No, no, no. They want to die. And the only solution against those brutal regimes and individuals who always intimidating people by killing them and assassinating them. If there are questions, if there are calls, brothers, you can put the display the numbers if anyone wants to call us. I forgot what I was talking about. Yeah. The only solution against those brutal people are those who seek death. As long as people love to live, which will cause them to be chicken and cowards, those brutal people will be stabilized. Really, this is the only alternative and solution. Because those people, we saw them. See how brutal they are, how criminal, how hard-hearted they are. Once they got captured, you realize extremely the opposite. Crying, begging, mashallah. He becomes just like a sheep. But before that, no. They are so brutal and so criminal. Anyway, so this is what I wanted to talk about it. The hadith is so beautiful about Jibreel alayhi salam. I love it. What I wanted to say is this. Yeah. We've been talking about the hadith of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. He said that I should not be leaving. He said to Ali, I should not be leaving, but you should be my Khalifa. Now this hadith is not authentic. It may become authentic. It may be. Hardly, barely. But as I said, any evidence people bring, they have to look for the occasion of the narration. The narration has occasion. It has a context that you should not keep yourself away from that occasion and context. This hadith was mentioned by the Prophet ﷺ when Ali realized that the Prophet ﷺ is leaving for a fight. And the Prophet nominated Ali to be his viceroy, to be his vice leader, his deputy. But Ali was not happy with this. Ali was just like one of those Syrians who seek death. Ali wants to be a martyr. The Prophet Ali said to the Prophet ﷺ, خَلَّفْتَنِي عَلَى النِّسَاءِ وَالصِّبْيَانِ. You have left me for guarding children and women. we should not forget that Ali radiallahu anhu was a great, brave person. He was significant in his bravery, to the extent that the Prophet ﷺ used to be preceding him before any fight occurs between the Muslim army and the Kafir army. He used to be preceding Ali to make a fight, a personal, individual fight. This used to be the habit, of the fights. The first part bring the strongest man, and the other part bring his strongest and bravest man, and they both fight. And this has a psychological impact in the souls of all the soldiers. If this fighter win, that will be giving more morals, great morals, to his own army. The Prophet used to be preceding Ali for these kinds of individual fights before, always. But now Ali was upset that the Prophet nominated him to be in Medina, leading Medina, lest anyone from the outsiders attacking it, in the absence of the Prophet and his soldiers. Ali was upset and he said, "O Prophet, خلفتني على النساء والصبيان." See the word خلفتني, that means you left me to be a leader after you. So, that means the hadith is not talking about Ali being the leader after the death of the Prophet. No. But the Shia will be deluding you to believe it that way. Because the hadith says that the Prophet said to Ali, "I should not be leaving, but you should be the Khalifa after me." So they bring to the Sunni people this hadith and they deceive them. They say, "See what the Prophet said. He said, I should not be going, but you should be the Khalifa after me." Now how can we solve that? How can we clarify this doubt? We can say to them, wait a minute. Ali said that when? Before the Prophet's death or before the Prophet's going to his fight? The second is the correct one. And also the Prophet said something here also, which I remembered. He said, أَمَا تَرْضَى أَن تَكُونَ مِنِّي بِمَنْزِلَةِ هَارُونَ مِنْ مُوسَى. Aren't you pleased? Doesn't it please you that your level, your significance, your grade compared to me, or to my perspective, is just like the grade, the level, the rank of Harun compared to Musa, or to Musa. And you are so close to me. Your level, your companionship to me is just like the companionship of Harun to Musa. What was Harun, by the way, the brother of Musa? Harun أخي أشدد به أزري وأشركه في أمري. These are the verses in Surah Taha. He's my brother, supportive to me, and sharing my matters. Okay. The Prophet said, doesn't it please you that your rank is so close to me, just like the closeness of Harun with Musa, except in one thing, that Harun was a prophet, but there will be no prophet after me. Now, the Shia have laboratory. In their laboratory, they made some, analysis, and they said, all right, so he's just like the rank of the Prophet, so he's not prophet. No. And there will be no prophet after the Prophet Muhammad. Yes. So he's Imam. That's why, therefore he's Imam. This is analysis. The text is not clear on that. No. You know why? Because even the Shia themselves confessed the fact that Harun, and this get ready for the shock. The Shia themselves confessed that Harun died before Musa. He died before Musa. So the Prophet meant, I say meant because the text is not clear. It needed the Shia analysis and explanations, which are not really explanations, as a matter of fact. It's hallucinations. It's not analysis. They confessed that Harun died before Musa. So if the Prophet he was meaning by these words that Ali should be the Imam after me, didn't the Prophet know that Harun died before Musa? So why the Prophet needed to give them this as an evidence that this is what I meant? I meant the Imam. I meant as Harun deserved to be the Imam after Musa, then Ali should be the Imam after me. That's not true. This is not true. Why did he confess that Harun died before Musa then? That's a point. So what did the Prophet want to show with this hadith? The excellence and the virtue and the greatness of Ali. And there's no disagreement between the Sunnah and the Shia about that. No, we never disagreed about that. We did not disagree. We agree on that. But we disagree is that the Prophet says something and he means the Imamah while he knows that Harun died before Musa. So the hadith does not fit what you're trying to fit. No. Now, I'll close with this. I think we have some little minutes. There is hadith that says also that the Prophet said, I have left 2 Khalifa behind after me. 2 Khalifa. The book and the family. The book and the family. My family. Itra. And they said, look, the Prophet used the word Khalifa. I said, yes. But Khalifa was used for the Quran as well. You mean that Quran will be the leader after the Prophet? So the Quran in the life of the Prophet was not Khalifa, was not an Imam. The book is always described in the Quran that it is Imam. وَمِن قَبْلِهِ كِتَابُ مُوسَى إِمَامًا وَرَحْمَةً. Allah described the book, the Torah, as Imam, leader. Are you telling me that the Quran was not leader in the lifetime of the Prophet? The Quran did not become a leader except after the Prophet died. Can't be. So what does it mean the word Khalifatain? I have left 2 Khalifas. The Quran and my family. There's another hadith that explains this. The Prophet was saying, فَانظُرُوا بِمَاذَا تَخْلُفُونَنِي فِيهِمَا. What will you be doing? What would be your attitude, your position, your reaction to those 2 things? That means following the Quran and fearing Allah regarding the family of the Prophet. 2 days ago I was here and I displayed a video where the Shia are cutting cakes on the occasion of the death of Hafsa, the wife of the Prophet, and the death of Umar, and the death of Aisha. And they were eating from this cake and saying, I have the video here. I have it with me. They were saying, may Allah curse Umar. I'm not going to say the bad words they mentioned, but they were saying that, he was sodomite, and that his daughter Hafsa was sodomite, and also Aisha. I was wondering, wait a minute, you're talking about the wife of the Prophet? Do you really respect the Prophet when you say that? No, you're not respecting. Now, okay. They said that the hadith, I have left with you the book of Allah and my sunnah is weak. And I was talking about that last week. And I said, there's no need for that. There's no problem. We have many other hadith where the Prophet ﷺ said, I have left with you the book of Allah. Now this time he did not say my sunnah. He said, and the sunnah of his Prophet. Narrated by Al-Mustadrak for Al-Hakim. authentically and by in his book At-Targhib wa Tarhib, hadith number 40, volume number 1, page 110. Authentically. And it was authenticated by Sheikh al-Albani and as well as many scholars. The Prophet, 3 people visited the Prophet ﷺ, and they were investigating about his way of worship. They underestimated this. They realized that it was so little. One of them said, as for me, I pray and I don't quit. I don't stop praying. The other one, I fast and I don't break my fasting. The third one, I never touch women. That means I'm always engaged in worship. Then the Prophet, after hearing them saying that, he said, what is the matter with people who say so and so? Wallahi, I am more fearful to Allah more than you. And I know I have more knowledge about Allah more than you. But my way, my sunnah, is to fast and eat. And I worship, I pray at night, and I sleep, and I marry women. Whoever turn away from my sunnah, he's not of me. He is not of me. The one who turns himself away from my sunnah is not of me. It's very clear. Now, even before I leave, I should show you this. This is the book of Al-Kafi. It's the number 1 reliable book in the Shia madhab. What does it say here? In the first volume, page 59, الرد إلى الكتاب والسنة. All matters should be returned to the book and the sunnah. To the book and the sunnah. This is the title. This is the title of the subtitle. All things should be rendered to the book and the sunnah. And there is nothing which is considered to be halal or haram or anything that people need. But there's something that had been mentioned about it in the book and this sunnah. Prepare for the shock. You say, no, not sunnah, but atra. Wait a minute, are you talking about the body of atra? Or the religious knowledge of the atra? Sure, you mean the second one. Wait a minute, where did it take it from? Is it from Allah directly, without the prophetic source? Or they took it from the Prophet? If you say that they were revealed by Allah and their source of revelation is different than the Prophet, this is a disbelief. You're making them prophets. If you say that they have taken it from the Prophet, then why do you confuse people and say to them, not the Sunnah, but the family? Wait a minute. By the way, the family, if you mean, for example, the grandson of the Prophet ﷺ, the grand-grandson, Ja'far al-Sadiq, they were not contemporary to the Prophet ﷺ. They did not see the Prophet ﷺ, but the companions did. Don't say to the people, don't take from the companions, but take from the family of the Prophet. No, because those grand-grandsons of the Prophet did not see the Prophet to take from him. But the companions who took the Quran, the companions who wrote and collected the Quran for you, are those who collected the Sunnah. So, taking the Sunnah from the Prophet directly is better than saying to the people, no, take it from those who had taken it from the Prophet. You're not making any sense. The topic did not finish yet. Be with me next week, inshallah, and try to have access with me. I want dialogues. I want those people who defend their religion, their faith, their madhab, to dialogue with me and to talk. And by this, I want the unlearned, non-speaking Arabic Shia to realize where is the truth. Thank you very much. Be with me next week, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.